you stop.
Yeah. Alright, okay.
Okay.
See, another topic that I really wanted to... That's really awkward, alright. So, another topic that I really wanted to discuss...
Stop touching my leg. Right, go on.
Alright. Another topic that I wanted to discuss, which has been in the news, has been the news of Nahid Al-Mahdiya. Now, many of you may not know her name, but you may have heard of the Muslim woman in Colchester who was stabbed 16 times while walking through a park in Colchester, Essex, in the UK. And I think I just have to get it off my chest, because this was a Muslim woman. She was a Muslim, and most Muslims who have seen this story feel that this happened because she was Muslim. Now, you're right, obviously we don't know what the cause was, but just the horrific nature of it, and the fact that she's a Muslim, and just how there's been a general surge in attacks on Muslims. We all feel it, all the Muslims feel it. Every Muslim I've spoken to says it and feels it too. The media, many media outlets seem to downplay the fact that she was Muslim. And that really grinded my gears. She was Muslim. And why not talk about that? When you have a Muslim committing a crime, their being Muslim is made...
the primary identity.
Yeah, exactly. It's primary identity, and it's given as part of the main argument or the main platform that you need to discuss around. Saying, why did this Muslim commit this crime?
Yeah.
But when it's a Muslim who's the victim of a crime, their being Muslim, that identity of theirs, isn't discussed.
It's almost downplayed. Yeah.
And that's really annoyed me. And I think that's annoyed a lot of Muslims, because if there was any attack on any other community, you would say, well, hang on, this seems to fit into a strand of attacks on people of a different background, etc. But I don't feel it's really being discussed. It's almost as if there's a reluctance to bring that into the discussion. And the other thing that's really annoyed me is just the fact that where is the intense scrutiny and analysis about why in the UK these attacks are becoming more common? Why is that not more discussed? You know, when we had Trojan Horse, that story in Birmingham, off the back of some random letter sent to the council, they launched an investigation. The government wanted to be seen, Gove wanted to be seen, the Education Secretary, wanted people to see him as someone that is dealing with this issue. Now you got the head of the ex-anti-terror expert, who led the 7/7 review, I believe, to actually head up this investigation. And look at that. A, he's taken action, and B, he wants to be seen to be taking action. Where is it when it comes to these issues? Why aren't we discussing it? Where's going to be the talk shows that put this topic? So why are Muslim students being attacked? What's going on? What's wrong with our society?
Yeah. Where is there an extremism problem within Britain? Are white non-Muslims suffering some sort of racism epidemic, as they would have done if it had been a Muslim, for example?
Yeah.
I.e., the very culture, the very faith, the very people, the very history of those people would have been the reason of why a Muslim would have committed an act. But when we're the victims of an act by a non-Muslim, their history is never brought into it.
No.
Their hate preachers are never brought into it. The media frenzy against Muslims are never brought into it. The media or the political hate and fear that they've been that they've pushed and conjured and allowed to fester within society is never questioned. So the causes of that murder, the hatred generated by the elite in this country, is almost swept aside. It's just a murder, an aberration by some evil guy, a singular person committing a singular act. But when any of us do it, it's a collective act by a collective people because of their collective identity, history and faith.
Yeah, and also it's very interesting that although people say they do not want to get into speculation and going down that road, they are more than happy on other topics to go down the speculation road, aren't they? Yes. Let's speculate what's wrong with the Muslim community. And even when it's proven to be wrong, they'll put a footnote in some of the papers, etc., saying, alright, we messed up. Yeah. But why not speculate about this? Yeah. Why is it left to the Muslims to have to try to push through that her being Muslim has a part to play? Yeah. It may have a part to play. Why aren't you discussing it? Where's the intense scrutiny? Where's the think tanks coming out? Where's the specialists? I'm going to see Douglas Murray talking about this. But if it was a Muslim committing this crime, God, we all know what he'd say.
But I love what you're saying, but there is something that we as ourselves have to take stock. If this had happened to a politicised community, let's say the black community, and it has happened to them, they'd be out on the streets marching. They would have demanded some action. But you will look up and down the breadth of this country, there is no demand for that. No. There's no organised action. People out there may be outraged, I don't doubt that. Muslims out there will be upset. but no mosque would have called for any action.
Yeah.
There'd be no call for any action by the scholars. There'd be no call of action by Muslim leaders. They would have simply said, "Isn't it bad? Things are getting worse." No action will have been taken.
Yeah, and it's what I've seen is
And then sorry, can I just say? And then tomorrow, the talk they'll do is the need for the perfect length of your trousers, or some other minor issue, the seerah of the Prophet of how to get married in a correct manner. I mean, they're all important, but for goodness sake, someone's dead.
16 times she's been stabbed. The thing, and you know what, I know this, Friday, and I think most Muslims know this too. Your mosque ain't really going to discuss this. And you know what, just as a side point, we'll get the old Muslim commenting, "Oh, but my mosque did." Doesn't mean it's okay. The majority of them...
So when they commented,
Yeah.
For goodness sake, did they organise people?
Yeah.
There's no point saying, "Isn't it bad? Everyone do dua." How did that change anything?
Yeah.
I always get this. Some 3,000 mosques. One guy hears his mosque says, "Oh Allah, please bless
My
that
mosque
dead
did
woman,"
something.
and they go, "Oh, we're active." You're not active.
No.
Your mosque's not active.
Yeah.
Try that with the Jewish community. Every synagogue in the country, from one end of Britain to right across the world, would have been saying to the governments, "Do something," and to their people, "Get active."
Yeah, you're right. And,
Nothing.
And
Nothing from us. Nothing from our
and
leaders.
what I've noticed is there have been individual Muslims who feel strongly enough to do this, but that's what worries me. That it's almost seen as if this is the task of Muslim activists. No, it's our community. It's affecting us as a community. And you're right, we don't see ourselves as a community because we're so divided on different lines. But also, there is no forum to actually sit down and say, what are the problems facing us today and how do we deal with these problems? There's just no discussion taking place. My local mosque, and I guarantee most mosques just won't do it. And I know some people get their knickers in a twist about this, but the reality is, the mosques don't. And the thing is, we've expected them to just be prayer rooms. And it's shocking because there is no other community that would allow a murder to take place, a murder of someone of their own, and not try to push it up the agenda and want it to be dealt with in the strongest, most effective way. Why are we pushing for things to be done?
The funny thing is, people say, "Why mosques? Why mosques? Why do you keep going in about the mosque?" No, think about it yourself. In your area, right? In our, let's say our area, right? There's 30,000 Muslims. We want to talk about this issue. We want to get organised. Where are they going to get organised? In our bedroom? Or do we have to hire a church hall out? Do you understand the point? The point is the infrastructure, the building, the money that the community has put together in buildings should house our organised discussion, a way of bringing our community together. But instead, lock the door after Salah. Old man's, kingdom remains safe, and we die in the streets.
Yeah. But not only that, it ain't just a building, it's the house of God. And that's the worst thing, that we have made the houses of God into just prayer rooms. Thing is, and by that same definition, if I led enough jama'ahs in this room, that's a mosque now.
Yeah.
Because that's how we treat our mosque, to be honest. But actually, we shouldn't expect that, we should expect more. And I think I know, and most Muslims know, the mosques ain't going to take this forward. And actually, we need to challenge that mindset that says that why are you doing more for our community? It's not for some random benefit, it's to actually stop people being stabbed. 16 times, I can't stress that enough, 16 times a woman has been stabbed. How is that not?
Must have been again and again.
Yeah,
How much
exactly.
hatred
Exactly.
must that individual have been poisoned with to do that to a Muslim woman? And the only reason, perhaps why you're sitting there thinking, why does he keep saying 16 times, is because you're not thinking that's your mother.
Yeah.
16 times someone had stabbed your mother or your sister. And believe me, if it's happening to one girl, how long before the poison of hatred within society that we are allowing unchecked, because we will not fund groups that are trying to roll back Islamophobia. How Zagard's coming. I'm sorry, forgive me for this. I'm going off on a tangent. I know the video is taking too long, but this is so important. I think we should do a separate video on this. Hundreds of millions of pounds will be going abroad to feed some poor person. Good. In Zagard during this Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of pounds. Could they not have saved 10%? Could you not put 10%, 5% aside of your zakat to fund groups in this country to stop the hatred spreading within society that is going to burn your houses in the end, burning your mosques and killing your daughters? Is that beyond the mind of a Muslim. It's because we're so apolitical, so pacified by colonial Islam that talks about every minor issue bar the major issues of the world, that we cannot stop.
So I just want to say something, because what I've learned with this is it's actually best to keep it that way, because we know how much is recorded.
No, and just end it now, wrap it up.
Yeah,
wrap it up. Otherwise we're gonna
No, the thing is, the final thing I want to say is that as a Muslim community, I realise, I've seen it in my own family and I've seen it with other Muslims too. Many of us live in our own little bubble, and what happens is when we hear these stories, deep down, pretty much all Muslims feel it, that I know, that have any sense of understanding of the world around them, which is that things are getting worse. Muslims are hated for their religion, and it's only going to increase, we know it. But so many Muslims I see just want to forget about it. But you can't. It's not going to go away. It's getting worse. If you actually look at the trend over the last 10 years or so, there has been an increase in the number of attacks on Muslims. And it can't be for any reason apart from that they're Muslims, that they follow Islam, that they look like Muslims. You have pig heads being thrown at mosques, an imam being blinded at Regent Park's mosque in London. Why is that considered okay for us? And yes, you might say that, I don't think it's okay, but we do as a community, because we let it go unchecked. We might get a bit angry about it, but where is the Muslim voice overall that says we want to organise, we want to get together, we want to deal with this, and we won't settle for anything less?
I agree, Raza. And what I would say to you is, I know there's some sincere Muslims out there right now going, I want to do something, what can I do? And I'd say simply this, I'd say, come and learn what to do. Come and talk to us. If you're in London or if you're in Manchester, we have people there who are trying to wake people up and giving you the solutions of how to roll back this hatred within society. We're more than willing to train you. We're more than willing to help you organise. If you're a Muslim leader, come and speak to us. If you're a Muslim speaker, come and speak to us. And if you're just an activist on the ground saying, I want to know more, what can we do to challenge this? We're there to help you. But we need you to be conscious enough to want to do something. We can't wake a man who's pretending to be asleep.
And that's what we need. We need that political consciousness in the Muslim community to rise. And I think that's the fundamental act. I think too many Muslims, what happen, they get bogged down on, all right, how am I going to organise a demo off the back of this, etc. That's one level too far. What you need to actually discuss in Muslim communities is why are we so politically unconscious? Why are we in this political coma? Malcolm X once put it, a beautiful quote, he said that, I'll paraphrase it, but he said the biggest mistake of a movement was to organise a sleeping people around specific actions. And the thing is, it makes sense, because you can go up to any Muslim and say, we need to organise a demo, we need to make, the newspapers cover the story, we need to, make the government do more to deal with the story. But most Muslims won't do it because they don't care about it. And I know it sounds really harsh, but they don't, because Baba Ahmed petition, where are all those Muslims now? Mazam-Beg, there was a demo or two, where are all those Muslims now? Where is everyone?
But even that demo, how many Muslims turn up? There's 3 million Muslims in this country. If 100 people turn up, is that some sort of success?
Yeah.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we have to increase the political consciousness of the Muslim community. And I think, and that's what Asghar is getting at, that's what the discussion we need to have as Muslims who really want to change what's happening to our community in this country and around the world. So really, please get in contact, and inshallah we can have a good discussion on this. If you want to find out more, if you have any comments on what we've spoken about so far, leave a comment in the video below or on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll get back to you. I'll leave it in the description. I'll leave our Twitter handles and MPACUK as well. So please get in contact, because we don't want this to just be a one-way thing. We want to be discussing this with you, because we need to change and we need it now. And please pass this on to other Muslims. We need more Muslims to be aware, and because there are other Muslims feeling like this too. Let's organise ourselves around this. Let's actually make something happen. So guys, from Asghar and myself, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.